Darkcast Network. Out of the shadows comes the best of indie podcasts.
Welcome to the J Squared Horror Podcast, where two lifelong horror fans talk all things horror. Pour yourself your favorite drink and hang out. Here are your hosts, Josh and Jake.
Hey guys, welcome to the J Squared Horror Podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jake.
And on today's episode, we are going to be discussing
2023's Insidious The Red Door, directed by Patrick Wilson.
Patrick, isn't that the dad?
It is.
Isn't that Josh?
That's Josh, yeah.
Josh directed this movie. Yeah. Before we get into this episode, what would we like to let anybody new to our podcast know?
As always, like and subscribe on YouTube.
Pretty, please.
You can also find us on Spotify.
We're on there.
We're on Apple.
We are.
As well as Google.
We are.
Also on Instagram, J Squared Horror Podcast. Link tree in the bio. New episodes every Thursday.
Every Thursday, two lifelong horror fans decide to get together and talk all things horror. And by all things horror, we mean absolutely nothing about horror and all side stories and fun stuff. No, we basically will base an episode off of a movie and then do our thing with it. And our thing is including ourselves in the movie, trying to get our fans' involvement in different ideas and different scenarios throughout horror flicks, and trying to bring you the most original horror podcast out there. Now, being that we are one of the most original horror podcasts, it is super cool that the Darkcast Network welcomed us into their network. The Darkcast Network is a podcast community of a bunch of true crime and dark, what would be a good word? Dark stories, dark
themed.
It's dark themed podcast, and they have been super friendly to us. So if any of our fans out there are interested in anything true crime or anything a little bit different than what we do, go check out the Darkcast Network. They have been super friendly to us, and you guys should support them as well because they are supporting us. So big shout out to Darkcast Network. Thank you guys so much for including the J Squared Horror Podcast into your world. What I'd also like to mention is www.jsquaredhorrorpodcast.com. Why is that important, Jake?
That's how fans can talk to us and stay up to date.
Yeah, you can stay up to date. You can easily communicate with us. Right now, we are trying to get y'all's involvement on a future episode, which is going to be a Would You Rather episode. So, for instance, would you rather be chased by Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees? Not that simple, but try to bring some that you guys would want to hear us answer on an episode.
Yeah.
We have gotten some submissions already, so thank you to the ones that have submitted some, but we are looking for many, many, many more. So if you do want to partake, you can either comment down below on YouTube, you can comment on Instagram, or go to www.jsquaredhorrorpodcast.com. What I'd also like to mention is Paranormality Magazine. Paranormality Magazine is an up-and-coming paranormal magazine about all things strange, unusual, and obviously paranormal. These guys have been supporting Yo Boys for a while. If you guys go to their website and you do an online subscription or a physical copy subscription, you can use code J2Horror at checkout, and you will receive 10% off of your purchase. Also on their website, what you can do is vote for the J Squared Horror Podcast to be their top out of their top 10 paranormal podcasts. We are not a paranormal podcast, but we are dark and spooky, so we kind of fit into like this interesting realm of things. We're part of the Darkcast Network. Paranormality Magazine likes us. It's cool. Right now, we're in third place, so if you guys go there, you can vote 3 times, type in our information. You can do it once a day. We would love to see number 1. It's great publicity for us. It's free publicity for us. And if you want to see us grow and you want to see us in front of a new base of fans, that would be super helpful. Thank you guys so much in advance if you do that. Now, I got all that fun shit out of the way. Insidious The Red Door, right? Red Door? The Red Door? Something about some kind of door?
There's some kind of door that's involved.
This door is important, I guess, but if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, this is going to be a spoiler-ridden episode. We do not care if you've seen it yet. If you don't want to listen to us beyond this point, we're going to ruin the movie for you. What I can tell you is you should save yourself $15. I will say that. I would much rather you listen to our content on it than to go see it in theater.
I agree.
It's not a very good movie. Me and Jake went and saw it a couple of nights ago, and we went with my sister. She's a part of the podcast in the background. But we all went to go see it, and it was a lackluster experience, and we're about to get into why we think so, and maybe some situations that we think we could be in this movie. So if you guys are excited about that, listen along. Comment down below if you've seen it, and if you haven't, what you thought of our episode on it. So, Jake, we covered Insidious 2010 last week, correct?
Yeah, we did.
And it was interesting for me as a single guy that doesn't have any kids or anything like that. I was asking you some questions about, what it's like being a parent if your kid's coming up to you about spooky stuff. So one cool thing that Insidious Red Door did, and this is 13 years post the original, is both of the boys, the kids that were in the original movie, those actors are the same actors and playing the same roles. So the mom, the dad, and the actors, the boys, not the actors, the boys are the exact same characters, which you rarely see in movies that have gone this long,
that long
for a franchise. Now, some of the ones aren't in this direct storyline, but this is this family. You know the name of the family. Lambert family. And it was super cool to see that. But what I wanted to say is, obviously, your kid has grown up. So, being that versus when you watch the original Insidious, there are some touchy, very intense parts that happen in this movie. Does anything resonate with you? Was anything like sad? Did it bring up anything? Was it just like, like what? You know what I'm talking about? So when he takes his kid to college, I mean, you're not at that point yet. But
I can't imagine
that, like, it's intense.
Being at that point and my kid just legitimately just hating being around me.
Yeah.
We learned down the road why.
And I think if you've seen the second one, you would know why.
Yeah.
I didn't remember it.
I should have watched it.
I should have. Yeah. I started it and I went to bed.
Yeah, I mean.
You mean.
Other than that, I was
Jack Nicholson from The Shining? Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering. Like, when I was sitting next to you in the theater, I thought maybe you either just shifted in your seat or something made you feel a little uncomfy.
Just the movie itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, basically, to set this one up, if you guys know anything about Insidious, what they do is they make them repress those memories and forget that they're able to astroplane and forget that they've been through what they've been through. And they're just like the kid Dalton was just like, I was in a coma. I don't remember anything from when I was 10 years old.
But he had the feeling.
But he knew something was kind of off.
Someone was beating.
Basically,
his grandmother was hiding something.
Yeah,
from
he
him.
painted a picture of his or drew a picture of his grandmother, and she looks like she's hiding something because she is. She's been lying to you your entire childhood. It was cool because you start off the movie, it's the funeral, and you see the dynamic of the Lamberts now, and it's not what you were expecting. It's what we kind of jokingly joked about last week. It wasn't that Josh cheated, which darn it.
So close.
So close. He just ended up, he calls it getting foggy. And anybody that deals with anything mental in their life knows what a foggy time can be like.
Yeah.
I couldn't do an episode a couple of weeks ago because I was going through some brain fog. So it was interesting to see that they were split and that the dynamic is now Josh is the outsider of this family. And he's now trying to maybe piece it together because his kid's going off to college. Obviously, if you're a parent and you've been through that, it's probably a very trying time. But I really don't give a shit because that's like one of the main focal points of this movie, I guess, especially for the first chunk of change.
Wait, what is?
Just the fact, like, that whole dynamic. Like, it was cool to know, but then it's like the whole drive to college, the dropping them off, the awkward frat stuff. There's just like different things that it's just like filler. And this is the third movie in a now 13-year franchise. Like, come on, guys, it's like what Halloween Ends did, which is like not as bad because they weren't random characters. But I feel like in comparison to all the other Insidiouses, especially the two, nothing is happening in the first chunk of this movie that's anything Insidious like.
Yeah,
at all.
We're talking about an unnecessary dynamic.
Yeah.
That I did not give a shit about.
No, but also none of the other Insidiouses were like this. Like, they start and you start getting ghost shit happening pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Ghost shit, not necessarily the whole fucking lipstick face demon or the old lady or none of that, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like cool. And then, it's just like being creative and being a creator, that sometimes you can take yourself to places you might not be comfortable in. And obviously Dalton is an artist, and that's kind of a big part of this movie, because the art teacher makes him go to his subconscious, which then, because you've repressed shit, is gonna, I guess, come out based on something. I don't necessarily understand it per se.
Yeah, so from what I gathered, it was the counting down from 10 to 1.
That's what did it?
That's what...
Oh, because that's what they did to get to the... Oh, yeah, the further.
So she counted down. You see him kind of like shut his eyes for a second.
Yeah.
And it opened up that part of his memory, which I also didn't give a shit about.
Nope. And then there's just this movie doesn't do Insidious justice.
But it tries so hard, though. Yeah,
but it tries in all of the wrong ways. And that meaning you've had so many now. And even the ones that weren't a part of the Lambert storyline were better than this. And like that throat key one was pretty fucking bad. But at least it's stuck to the same status quo of what Insidious is. And I'm only meaning that because this movie was pushing 2 hours. It was an hour and 47 minutes long. Maybe some of the theater experience that we were going through wasn't the best either.
What, people in the background?
Oh man,
around?
Yeah, it was. So me and Jake and my sister, we're old. We're definitely all into our 30s. And I guess you kind of get that get off my lawn moments.
Yeah, because the dude behind me kicked my seat like 3 times.
He punted mine. Like, I think he intentionally tried to readjust my spine with that. But so basically, it was just a group of what seemed younger.
They were in fucking high school.
Yeah, definitely high school age, maybe fucking middle school. I don't know what kids look like these days. But they were bouncing around from seat to seat. If anybody knows what going to a fucking movie's like nowadays, bro, we pick our seats when we buy our tickets. You shouldn't be moving sections.
That's like the dude who was sitting.
Oh my god, the dude to your right.
Yeah,
go ahead and tell him that. That was fucking hilarious.
So before he got
mind
there,
you, the movie is going on.
These kids who are walking around.
Yeah.
They moved from one side to the other, right behind us.
Yeah, that's when our seats started getting kicked.
And I heard them say to their friends, "Hey, just sit in these seats right here, the ones that were next to us." So they sat there, had their milkshake.
Yeah.
He left it there. They left.
Yeah, they got more food.
So the movie either is about to start.
I think we gotten through the previews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy comes and sits down.
Yeah. Which I saw him looking at his phone while he was walking up to his seat, which typically means you're looking for the G whatever.
Yeah. So now the movie started.
Yeah.
These two kids come back.
Yeah.
And they say to him, "Hey, we were sitting there." And he looks up at them and said, "I paid to sit here." And then he looks away back at the screen.
Yeah.
And they're just like, And I heard someone behind us say, "Hey, boy." Did you hear that?
No.
Yeah, I heard that.
Who?
Yeah.
What ethnicity was the hey boyer? Because that could have gotten real bad real quick.
I don't think it was one that should be saying that.
Oh, my God. That's terrible.
But the dude didn't hear it.
Good, because I don't think he was one to fuck around.
No.
No.
At all.
He was in there to see his fucking movie. Was he wearing a Ghostface t-shirt?
I think he was.
Oh, that guy was so cool.
The way
he had really good style.
He addressed these fucking kids.
Oh, he looked into their souls.
And then looked back at the screen.
Yeah.
It's almost like, and I dare you to say anything else to me.
Yeah. And I think at one point, I think they were like, after they got through that, they'd asked him just to scoot down one. And that's when he's like, "I paid for this seat." Like, he wasn't coming off of nothing.
Scoot down one.
Yeah. And then,
for
you got Jake sitting next to me, Mr. fucking stoic movie watcher. Nobody wants to sit next to him because he looks like he's going to start killing people because he's not even smiling anymore. It is funny, though. So if you guys know, this is how little the movie has content. I jump a lot in movies, and I don't even think we're 10 minutes in, and your boys already jumped. And Jen and Jake, my sister Jen and Jake, were both weak as fuck. It might have even been during a preview. I'm not sure. It was during a preview.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. The previews were the best part of this whole movie watching experience.
I agree.
Because I got to see some things that are coming out that me and Jake are super excited to cover later on down the road. But Yeah, so there are jump scares in the previews. I think there's like one or two in the movie. But the wife character, I can't think of her name right now. She's not really in the movie. She has a couple of lines, couple of parts.
So I knew that when they were doing the opening credits.
It was like and with.
Yeah,
and with her. And I was like,
man.
oh, what, did she die? No.
She just barely
was barely in the movie.
She read the script. Oh, I mean, I guess I'll be in
she'd
it.
rather be acting with Seth Rogen and Neighbors. You know, she's it's probably a lot more fun. I will say though, as I was watching her, her ability to be frightened is top notch. Her constant tears in her eyes.
Yeah, she does look
in fear,
weary and afraid. Pretty much most of the movie.
Yeah, I think that's why they chose that actress, because she has the ability to look like that, beaten down all the time.
She's good at it.
She's very good at it. She's one of the best parts of the movie. Now,
there's not a lot of them.
You were mentioning to me that Dalton hadn't really acted since.
Nothing I was aware of, no.
Yeah, so you guys can correct us on that or not. But if he hasn't, he did a fine job. He wasn't bad. But then you have a lady character that's introduced. She was fine. You got Nick the Dick. You got Josh. You got the brother. You got the baby's now bigger.
Well, not a single speaking line that I can remember.
No, she's just in the funeral. Like, that's the only part I remember seeing her in. That's it.
Because even when they went back to the house.
Yeah, she wasn't there.
She wasn't there.
No, she was at a friend's house. She mentioned that when he knocked on the door.
Well, I thought the other brother was too.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Maybe he just didn't go because they're sneaky teenagers.
Yeah, well, she's like...
he is at least,
He is a teenager.
She's like 10.
Yeah, she's definitely younger.
Also sneaking around. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Kids these days. After what I witnessed in the movie theater, who fucking knows? So, at what point do you say you completely gave up? Give me a scene.
I would say I completely gave up.
Excuse me.
When Dalton went into the further, and the overseen, overused, super played out lipstick demon was choking other girl.
You made it further than I did.
Yeah. I thought, you know what? I think I'm good. Because I think it was maybe 10 minutes prior.
Did you just say overseen, overplayed lipstick demon?
Yeah. I did. And it made me think of a term I haven't used in a long time, but fan service.
Ooh.
I mean,
We haven't used fan service in quite some time.
I get it. The Red Door, the lipstick demon.
He's like the main.
Then you're like, I get it. I've seen Insidious.
Yeah.
I don't need a new version of the same thing, but not as good.
Yeah, he had like chicken skin and peeled it off.
And it was eating it.
Eating it? I mean, if it was chicken skin, it could have been delicious.
It's fried chicken, yeah, I guess so.
Took the words right out of my mouth. So my part was before that. It was when he first astroplaned and decided to go creep on the girl in the room above him. In the history of Insidious, it was never used in that manner, ever. And the only thing that it did was freak you out because you saw something crawling behind him that was never explained later ever again.
Was it the lipstick demon?
No, because it had a tail. Lipstick demon never had a tail. And plus, the lipstick demon never crawled. He always walked and smiled and did the Darth Maul shit.
So you just never saw it again?
No.
Never saw it. It wasn't explained.
Unless it was one of those things that were attacking them both later on down the movie.
Under the bed thing?
The bald things that looked like they were burnt.
The only one
or like crusty.
They were crusty as fuck.
They needed some lotion bad.
It looked like Nick the Dick when he had that shit on his face.
Oh yeah, it did look like the fucking he kept a moisturizer mask on
maybe
too long.
Maybe they were moisturizing. Who knows?
Yeah, hey,
they were caught mid-moisturizing.
If anything from the last episode, we can go on entire rants about ghosts in the afterlife. That brings me up to another point of this movie that pissed me off with consistency. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but consistency is a big problem of mine in the job I do, in the world that I'm in. Consistency is something that bothers me. It's something that I train people on. It's something that I really look out for. And when you do a movie, it's very easy to keep shit consistent because guess what? You have very easy things to look back on to be consistent with.
Yeah.
And that being the movies that already exist in your franchise. So explain to me how the further is now ghostless. We talked a good amount last week about how, like, it's crazy. There's, like, all these purgatory not demons, ghosts that are, like, they're trying to get in too, and everybody's kind of fighting for these bodies, and da-da-da-da-da, and, like, we would hang out in the back. If you guys, you guys have heard it. If you have, if not, go check it out. It was a lot of fun. But to then go to this one, and the only things that are attacking people is the one crawling thing with a tail and crusty-ass ghosts underneath the bed that are in the real world, not the fucking further.
Well, we saw the one kid, the frat dude.
Yeah, but
died.
also, that doesn't make sense.
Why not?
What? He wasn't in tune yet.
What?
Dalton wasn't in tune yet.
It was slowly coming out of him, though.
But wouldn't you just walk around and see ghosts, like, everywhere? Like, if you're walking around the college campus, wouldn't you just see people that died in, like, the fucking Civil War?
I hope not. Because
then where do you draw the line
you would
consistency?
literally see people in front of you 24/7.
That's my point. That's why I'm irritated. In the first one, they're just in the house. So you see all the people that were in the fucking house. You're telling me that only one kid died from a party at one point in this college that looks like it was built in 1667? It looks like Dracula's fucking castle. And he finds the one that ironically was mentioned during Nick the Dick's speech.
That's the only thing I can think of. He was mentioned, and his spirit's still there.
Okay, I give you that.
Because he was
but then
mentioned.
explain Insidious 1. None of those other fucking ghosts were mentioned. The family of the Amityville Horror-like people,
Well,
not mentioned.
The door was open. The red door was open.
Then there should have been a shit ton more, not less. It's just conveniently storied ghosts in this one.
It could go to our previous episode. Maybe they're just busy doing their ghost job.
But do you see my irritation with this movie?
Yeah, I do.
It's like you've had 13 years. 13 fucking years to at least look at the first two and not just go off of the second one.
Something
I'm sorry. I didn't really remember the second one all that well. But I fucking remember the first one.
Something we don't really mention a lot of is directors.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how many movies Patrick Wilson has directed prior to this.
All right.
If any.
Yeah.
But that could play a part into it to why it turned out how it did.
You know, I do not like being on my phone during episodes.
I know.
But I am intrigued with you saying this now because you got to go to the most trusted app in America.
IMDb. You got to.
All day long.
I just don't.
All day.
It could be just the direction. I know.
Director.
I'm sure.
Insidious The Red Door.
And what else? That's it?
That's it.
That's his debut.
You guys ruined Insidious by letting the main actor direct it. Congratulations, Insidious.
I'm sure. I did see producers, and I think writers were Lee Winnell and James Wan. But I guess they let Patrick Wilson take it into the direction he wanted to take it to.
Yeah. Yeah. Writers, Lee Winnell. Is that who you're saying?
Yeah.
Screenplay by Scott Teems.
I just find that
so I don't even see Wan.
Well, no, because James Wan directed 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Which are the two that directly are the Lambert family.
Yeah.
So then the years go by.
Oh, that's cool. It was a female cinematographer.
Oh, nice.
Her name's Autumn.
You bring in Patrick Wilson. To direct this new one. And it did.
James Wan was a producer.
Okay.
Yep.
It
he
did
was affiliated.
have a different feel just from watching it.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, you knew it wasn't James
It was bad.
Wan.
Yeah, James Wan, good job. You pissed me off. Congratulations. I don't really matter that much. But I think they did a disservice by continuing it. Like, yeah, you get closure, but it's lame. And we'll get there. We're inching right up on this.
I feel like the closure.
Well, we don't want to go there yet.
No, I'm saying just in general.
Oh, in general, okay.
The closure I got from this movie wasn't real closure to me. It's honestly something they could did in the part 2, and they kind of did without directly showing you it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, the same premise of an ending.
You know what this reminds me a lot of? Star Wars.
Okay.
Okay, so Star Wars did 4, 5, 6, epic, crazy, intense. 1, 2, 3, mixed feelings on it,
Okay.
right? Then they had 7, 8, 9, or 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7, 8, 9, right? So the excitement that the fans of Star Wars had when The Force Awakens, which is number 7, came out, right? I remember I'd never been a part of a movie experience like that ever in my life,
Okay.
where I'm standing in line outside of the movie theater to get in my group to go sit inside of the theater.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never waited in line to then go sit down with my ticket already. You know what I mean? It was crazy. There's so many people.
Yeah.
People in fucking costumes, people in all this, right? So then you get the fact that I can't think of his name right now, but anyway, the director that did 7, and basically it was the same plot as 4. It was basically the exact same plot as 4.
What is the point of that?
But in my nerdiness and excitement of never really getting to experience too many of them in theater because of my age and because of my financial situations and the age group of when they were coming out, it was an experience. And of course, like me at that age, I was fucking pumped. I was excited. I have a fucking commemorative glass ticket. Like, I went all out, dude. I'm a Star Wars nerd.
Okay.
Now second to horror, which I never thought would happen, which is pretty cool. I'm much more into horror now than I am Star Wars. But then you look at it and you're like, okay, what? For me, it's like, what did Insidious do that wrong? And I'll tell you what they did wrong. The Force Awakens was exciting as fuck. Even though it's the same plot, it was modernized and visually and action-packed.
Okay.
So your brain is like, I really don't give a fuck. I am living the life of bright colors everywhere, right?
Because you can drink what you're watching.
Yes. And there is a trick, and I've heard this, and that's why like Marvel movies have had such crazy success over the years, is because of that same concept. Like plot and all that shit, like put that shit on the back burner. Let's blow some crazy shit up with CGI and all this shit, and like make these people's brains feel like they're getting something.
Okay.
That's what pisses me off about this. I feel like Insidious and Insidious Part 2 were more exciting early on in those movies as far as scare factor. And I even looked at you. I tapped you on the fucking shoulder during this movie, and I go, slow burn, huh?
Yeah.
And if any of you guys know, fans of our podcast, slow burns are now something that really, really irritate the both of us together. It's something we actually agree on most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. So the fact that you've waited 13 years... You have all the right pieces of the puzzle. As exciting as it is, it's simple as the actors and actresses that were in the original, which is, comparable to Star Wars or Halloween. But Halloween, the first two post were good, decent. So it just sucks because they went with once again the Halloween 3 thing, but with the same characters of just like, you're creating this plot line that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it was going nowhere, literally, from the jump.
Yeah, like if it went funeral, he's in college, crazy shit happens. All right, you got my interest. Like if he just, you know what I mean? Like I guess you want that they're struggling to love each other shit for later on purposes.
Do not care about that.
I don't give a fuck.
This isn't a rom-com.
You could have literally had the first scene, which is them at the funeral, and him being like, all right, well, I guess I'll see you guys on your weekend. And she's like, you should take your kid to college. He's like, He's in college, shit's going crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't need...
Because the actual drive itself gave you nothing.
Gave you nothing. He's on it. He's got his AirPods in. He's playing music. The dad's playing old man dad rock. And I wish it was more accurate. It should have been like Godsmack or Disturbed. But they still went with music from like the fucking 70s.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what?
You would think based on his age.
Yeah, he's our, not our age, but maybe our parents.
He's probably
a little bit older than our parents.
Probably younger than that, I would think. His character's probably like in his mid-40s.
Okay, then some of our fucking friends out there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, we definitely have friends that are in that age group, and I don't think they're out there listening to fucking Leonard Skinner.
So the music from
when
he was 10.
Yeah, when his dad left him. And then, okay.
That was
okay. Let's waste some more of our fucking time. Let's just go ahead and sprinkle in Josh's daddy issues. Not mine, ladies and gentlemen, because that'll take us years. This shit had the ghost of Josh's dad show up at his house and show him a box with his name on it that perfectly had pictures that he was able to figure out who his long lost daddy was. What the fuck is going on in this movie? I think Patrick Wilson, is that his name?
Yeah.
I think he has dad issues in real life that are unresolved because he forced them on us in this movie, and I'm not okay with it. Coming from somebody with dad issues, it was stupid. I hated every second of it.
Yeah, I didn't see...
Oh my God, you had the fucking 70s hitchhiker beating you up in your house?
Yeah, I didn't see the need
He
of
yeets
that.
you into a closet and you find a box that lands perfectly on your lap that had the pictures of his dad that he's able to
'cause
figure
if
out.
you remember, the push
Oh my
sent
God.
him into the further,
Dude, don't even.
and then when he picked the box up, he's back in the real
Bro,
world.
the math ain't math
I
in
don't
that
get
scene,
it.
dude.
So the whole countdown to 10 with
doesn't
Dalton,
matter because you can just get pushed by a ghost.
Yeah, if a ghost touches you, you're in the further now. But it
But
made,
only if you're an astroplaner.
it made sense
because
with-
the girl got choked out. She never went to the fucking further.
yeah, she got fucked up.
she died, dude. She fucking got yoked out.
It
And
made-
not in a consensually approved way.
It made sense with Dalton. The countdown from
The
10.
Dalton wasn't the issue in this movie. Dalton, I did not mind in this movie.
I feel like we were too heavy on the father character,
Josh, fuck you. Patrick Wilson took a big bite and said, I want this to be about me and my depth as an actor, I guess. Because if I would have known Patrick Wilson directed it, I don't know what the fuck I was looking at when I saw that, because I remember seeing it, but then my brain was like, that's not true. Because if I would have remembered that during the movie, I'm borderline walking out. I am, because I feel like it's a Patrick Wilson show.
So I didn't know that going into it.
I didn't know it going into
I
it.
looked up nothing.
No, we didn't
I
do
watched
any.
the
yeah.
one trailer and that was it.
Yeah, like the really early on trailer
Yeah.
too. We didn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't do
So I
anything.
go into it and I see directed by Patrick Wilson. I'm thinking, well, it could be a different Patrick Wilson.
I think that's
highly
what I think.
doubt
I
it,
think that's what I thought.
but it could be.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No.
And I hate to say it, but it kind of shows.
It does show.
I think that's the main problem with the movie, I think.
Patrick Wilson.
The direction that the directing went into.
Tell me he wasn't just trying to show himself off.
Yeah, it was
Now
a lot,
that we can say that,
it was a lot of dramatic scenes too.
that's what I'm saying, and that's not really Insidious like.
Yeah, like, what is this?
Yeah. And then you had like the one funny scene was
He was laying in the thing.
the MRI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That one got me a little bit.
I feel like that was a natural reaction.
You're claustrophobic, and anybody
Yeah.
that knows claustrophobic people, you're one of them.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. So
I'd be panicking.
his son's like, you should figure out your brain problems, Dad, and he's like, no, maybe.
Pretty much.
And then he goes and then okay, let's waste some more of the fans' time here. He goes to get an MRI from a doctor. So instead of going to see a therapist, he goes the super old school way of let me just get my brain scanned and see what's going on up there. Nothing. But during that scene, the doctor's like, hey man, anything happens, you got this little pumpy thingy. Just pump it a couple times. We'll pull you out of there. And he goes in, the power goes out, and he's freaking out. Obviously so. Like that part's realistic. But then it looks like something's behind him. And then it's funny because I don't know if have you ever gotten an MRI?
No.
I have. Those things fucking suck. They are terrifying.
Are they really that loud?
Dude, it's like, and you're just laying there and you can't move. And if you move, they're like, stay still, please. Like, immediately, like you're like, damn, my nose kind of. Excuse me, sir. Can you please stay still? What the fuck? How are you seeing me right now? The tube is like this far from your face. And
Uh-huh.
for all of our audio listeners, we're talking like 6-8 inches, guys, and it's loud. It sounds like a pile driver going off around you. And mind you, you're in that fucking hospital gown of just uncomfortability because
boy.
your gonads are just out, and it could just be out in the fucking public. And then you're laying in there. It's making all these noises. They're telling you not to fucking move. You're overthinking everything because now your entire body itches out of the blue.
Yeah, because you're
You
can't move.
you can't move. So now your body's like, I itch everywhere.
I
So
do
then imagine
everything right
laying there, right? And you're and you're like, what the fuck? Is something above me? And you can't you can't really do anything. So he tries to look up, and they do a good job of that scene. I'd say that's Patrick Wilson's best acting in this entire movie. And then it comes up through the bottom, like by his feet. Once again, your vulnerable zone. And it's funny because he's like, pull me out. And then like somehow he's back in the real world, no ghosts. And the doctor's like, dude, you're asleep for 14 minutes. Like, why are you freaking? And it's funny because he's like standing there, like ready to fight. And I'm like, dude, you already look like a bitch. Like, what are you doing now, trying to look all tough? And it was probably one of the more intense-ish, scary parts. But the movie lacked the Insidious charm, if you will. And we jokingly joked the lipstick face demon last time because it's an older movie. It's 13 years old now. Things didn't look as cool back then. And James Wan was finding his identity, all things that you can kind of look past easily. Bitch, it's 13 years later now. And the lipstick face demon's terrible.
I mean, he looked a little different.
They updated his makeup and his teeth.
In his skin, I think.
Well, no, he ate that, so we didn't really get to see that for long. But,
well, let me ask you this.
Yeah, please.
If there was no Insidious 1 and 2,
is this a good movie?
This was a standalone movie, is it good?
No.
Okay.
I really don't think so. The only reason this movie's tolerable is because there is a backstory of 1 and 2, in my opinion.
I agree. If this was a standalone.
If this was Insidious.
Yeah, it's
bad. It's a terrible
movie. It never
movie.
becomes a franchise.
Mm-mm. No, it dies. Right then and there.
Hopefully. Well, I heard they're going to make a TV show, a TV series out of this Insidious now.
The only reason I could say that's okay is if they go back and do, I can't think of her name right now, but the lady. The older lady.
Oh, no.
I can handle that. Like some of her different ghost hunts throughout the years.
Why the fuck was she in this movie?
She had to be. It was at the very end, though. Oh! There was something super cool.
They found the YouTube video of
There
her.
was something super... Yeah, but that was cool, though, because they showed the guys, the ghost guys. That was cute.
Oh, yeah, Specs and whatever.
Yeah, that was cute. Come on.
I mean, I did chuckle.
You appreciated that, right? Yeah,
yeah,
so they weren't in the movie, but they were in the movie.
Yeah, just some more slight fan service.
I'll take that. That's a perfect amount of fan service, in my opinion.
I feel
that right there is the chef's kiss on
also
fan
the
service.
opening credits are sketches from the first and second movie.
Yeah.
I don't need all that.
No, but whatever, dude. Shut the fuck up.
I just watched the first one.
Well, the majority, most people don't have a podcast.
Thought about, but didn't watch the second one.
I watched the first little bit. And I thought the mom, younger, was super hot.
So something I will say, like I said to you before we start the episode today, is getting to a point where I think I'm very, very close. I
don't like this.
Very close to being done with all these sequels and fucking franchises. Just give me original ideas. Either they're good or they're not.
Yeah, I can't agree with that, but
because I know for a fact two trailers we watched recently are original ideas. And we're excited.
Very excited about it, and they're getting good publicity, good footing. What I say Insidious Red Door did wrong is astronomical. I can't even go through it all. And what sucks is Jake brought up a good point right then. Not always. But right then, because
every episode.
No, you're great, buddy. You're my favorite co-host.
I'm really co-host.
You don't see my DMs, bro. I got motherfuckers fighting for your job.
If you guys want it, bring it.
No, I'm kidding. Nobody's ever asked to sit next to me for this long every week. What it did wrong is it didn't modernize Insidious at all. And Halloween did a decent job with the first two.
To modernize it, yes, I agree.
To modernize it. Yeah. One of the things that I loved about the Texas Chainsaw remake or reboot or whatever you want to call it was they modernized it. Some people found it corny. I found it cool. But still, you can at least discuss the modernization of it. This was not. It was the exact same premise with adult versions. Or not adult, older versions of actors and actresses. Okay, that sucks. That's not good. So my thing is I don't want you to give up on the continuation of franchises because you liked more of them than I have. And you guys can go back and check because I know it's a fucking fact.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. He did.
More.
I was not a fan of the Halloween Ends. He was. I wasn't a fan of, I can't think of any others right now, but those are two pretty big ones. And I know for a fact if Friday the 13th was coming out in a month with a reboot, we'd both be there opening night.
I'll say this. Evil Dead Rise
Is the best.
was very good.
It's the best.
So now, seeing this movie, which I was excited to see,
Yeah, we
It was-
only go see movies we're excited.
it was such of a huge letdown.
huge.
So now Halloween Ends. You were excited to see that, right? To an extent.
No, I was very excited to see
Okay.
that. Yeah,
It let you down.
very much so. Almost ruined Halloween
It's these
for me.
franchises that go on too long.
I'll give you that to an extent.
I don't need 5 to 6 movies in every single franchise. And as big as a fan as I am of Friday the 13th, it doesn't need 12 movies.
It needs 30.
And I feel like after a certain extent, when you're just trying shit just to try it, because you feel your franchise is big enough where,
You can't hurt it.
yeah, or you put out.
Insidious is not one of those
I
ones,
mean,
I would say.
they're going to come see it, but
Yeah.
James Wan, Lee Winnell, they've made and been a part of huge movies. He saw The Conjuring,
Yeah.
also Insidious.
Yeah.
After a certain extent, like Saw went on way too long.
Way too long.
Insidious has gone on way too long.
And there's, yeah.
They're
and
gonna
then
make-
Conjuring, they're
yeah.
making a new one. I don't even, I thought they were done after the last one.
Which I want to go see, but now I don't know.
I don't know. Patrick Wilson might ruin it. Did he direct that one too?
He may have.
Oh God, it just sucks, man. Because I briefly mentioned this last week, and laughingly so, is how I don't understand how horror fans can constantly watch regurgitated stuff. But it's definitely different when it's a legitimate copy of something,
We need
not
more
just
original
a
content.
regurgitation. Original, yes, and that's why we're so excited about the two that are coming up, which are
Cobweb,
Cobweb, yes. And what's the hand?
Talk to me.
Talk to me. I'm more excited for Talk to Me than I am Cobweb.
I'm more excited for Cobweb.
Well, that'll be interesting. That'll be cool for
Yeah.
the fans to get to hear our content on that. So basically, if you guys even give a shit, Josh sacrifices himself but doesn't sacrifice himself. Everybody lives happily ever after. Congratulations, you watched Insidious: The Red Door. It's bad. Nobody died. There was no point in having this movie because nobody actually died or had to do anything to fix it except paint over a painting of a door, and that solved your issue. Fucking stupid.
And then did he paint over that painting?
He painted over the painting of the door in order to close it forever.
Yeah, so he did the black paint over the door.
Yeah, that's it. Boom.
But
done.
didn't he use that canvas to paint the picture of him and his dad?
No.
He didn't?
No.
You sure?
No, that one's over there somewhere. He painted the picture of him and his dad with another
On a whole
easel.
different
With
black.
another easel, yeah.
Okay.
I hope so. Oh wait, no, it's like they're sitting in front of it to keep it closed.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
All this deeper meaning bullshit.
Oh, no, that is highbrow horror.
Yeah.
Is there anything
Was that mentioned during the movie?
highbrow?
I
No,
thought- I feel like it was.
I said it to you. I whispered it in your ear.
Someone said it.
It might have been the guy next to you.
Yeah. Got these fucking kids trying to take my seat. I'm trying to watch this highbrow
highbrow
horror movie.
Is there anything else that stood out or stood down for you in this movie? Like something that really just pissed you off? Or are we ready to get into the...
Yeah, one
Get to
last
the
thing.
game. All
This deep into a franchise, the introduction of new characters. Don't need them.
Oh, yeah.
Even though Chris, the roommate shortly,
She was good.
she was good,
She was
but not needed.
Not needed.
Didn't die, didn't really help. She's more of an emotional support, I feel like.
Female.
Yeah, which is cool, but
Maybe they'll spin off with her.
same shit with Halloween Ends. This deep, new
Yeah,
characters.
yeah.
I don't want them. I don't need them. They do not matter.
Yeah. Unless you're not going off of like the original cast. Like what Texas Chainsaw Massacre did. Those are just people. Okay.
Yeah, it's different.
That's different.
Don't bring back
Don't
the
bring
cast
back
of the original,
cast of the original
movie
and then sprinkle in some extra.
and make them
Spend,
notable characters.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I actually agree with you on that 1,000.5%.
I'm done with my rant now. Done. All right, I'm ready to get to these ratings.
Yeah, don't you say that other R word, buddy. All right, Jake. On a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rate Insidious Red Door from 2023?
On a scale from 1 to 10,
That's it.
this movie's a 2.
Solid.
What about you?
Solid 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
This shit
can't.
is
I
fucking
can't go
trash.
lower than a 2. Because I didn't walk out. There's
Sure.
only one movie I've walked out of recently. We didn't even cover it. We didn't even go see it together. It's actually bad. And some people are going to be like, you guys are just being mean. We have a podcast. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, we're going to be mean. We've rated original content worse than this. And we've talked about original people's ideas worse than this. And I would like to apologize to some of them right now. Because you don't have the fundage, you don't have the backstories, you don't have the years and years of people watching your movies over and over again, and you can know them like the back of your hand for you to just piss us off and let us down. So for some of the ones that were rated at 2s, 2.5, and 3s, I'm sorry, but you're in there with Insidious Red Door. It is what it is.
I mean, at least it's Insidious.
It is Insidious.
It's a good group to be in.
Yeah. But it's almost offensive to the smaller guys that you're put in with this movie because it's really bad. The fact that we didn't have much to talk about after, I mean, we also got to be careful about that because when we have conversations, we then feel like we're repeating ourselves. We do kind of have to shut the fuck up when we want to cover something. Yeah. It's just natural conversations between friends, and that's one of the things about an unscripted podcast is that if like sometimes you'll hear Jake say like, "Yeah, you told me that," and I just want to be like, "Dude, they haven't heard it."
but I have.
But yeah, it does get tricky sometimes because in your head, in natural conversation, you're like, "Stop fucking repeating yourself all the time." So it does get tricky. Thank you guys. If you guys have seen it, please, like I said earlier, comment down below. Comment on Instagram. Go to www.jsquaredhorrorpodcast.com. Let us know if you like the movie, if we're just absolutely assholes that don't understand modern horror cinema. If you did hate it, please join in with us in our hatred of this movie and comment as well. Anything about Patrick Wilson will be appreciated because he ruined the Insidious franchise. We are working on some really, really sick ideas coming up. We actually we have been focusing some energy on some exciting content that I think you guys are really going to appreciate. And obviously, when any new movie like this comes out, we are going to give you guys content on it. That is something that we will promise to you and we will do because I feel like it kind of matches our identity of the podcast. But with that being said, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 potential episode ideas right now for next week or the future of the J Squared Horror Podcast, which, as you guys know, we're always like, we have no idea what we're going to cover next week. Right now, we have 7 things to work through. So we are going to be bringing you guys some super exciting content. So like we mentioned in the beginning, if you haven't yet subscribed, if you haven't yet follow on Instagram, if you haven't yet, go to the website, follow along, join our email list. We can email you updates when episodes come out. We can email you updates on what we're going to be covering. Keep an eye out on Instagram because there's going to be some more videos coming out. We're going to remind you of the Would You Rathers. We're going to remind you of what's coming up. We are really focused on bringing our beautiful faces and our beautiful content in front of you guys more and more every week. And if that's something you want to see, comment, let us know. If you guys have any ideas for episodes like we've mentioned 1,000 times before, do not hesitate to let us know. It'll be right on our board of ideas. We will erase things for you fans if you guys want to hear things from us. Is there anything else you want to add for the fans, Jake? As far as content, as far as episode ideas or anything like that, buddy?
No, just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching, streaming. Yeah. We appreciate it.
We really do. We look at it every week. We're excited in the growth we're having. Don't forget, in September 8th through the 10th, we are going to be at the Tidewater Horror Convention. We are not just going to be there as patrons. We are going to have a table there. So make sure if you guys are at all interested in meeting us or at all just getting some cool swag, we'll be there the entire weekend. Me and Jake at a table, sitting there waiting for you to come say hi. Tickets are dirt cheap. The Tidewater Horror Convention is a lot of fun. It's completely local for us. It's something we're excited to be a part of. Yeah. Thank you to our main supporters, Jeff Balance, who does our design work. Jeff is working on some exciting stuff for me right now. Lucky Riggs, who does our intro and our outro music. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll hit him up for a new intro if you guys are tired of hearing that. I did that just for you. Big shout out to Trademark Printing, who does a lot of our printing needs. Obviously, we'll probably be hitting you guys up for some merch for this horror convention coming up. A big shout out to Jake. Without Jake, I don't think I would have the identity or the appreciation for some of the older stuff in horror, or some of the deeper meanings of some of the things, or just the funny side of things. So Jake, I appreciate you bringing horror in a new light in my book, and I know you share it to all of our fans every single week, so I appreciate that greatly. If you guys I already said all that shit. So this is the J Squared Horror Podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jake.
You guys have a great week, and always remember, it's hip to be squared.